How to become an airline pilot in 2025. When you see the media, they're saying there is a pilot shortage, so many people want to start flying and become airline pilots. The traditional route is get a CFI at 200 to 250 flying hours and work as an instructor, bill 1500 hours and apply to regional airline. But people don't know how they can reduce time and budget and get their first job after flight training. After watching this video, you will know the fastest way to become an airline pilot in 2025. Rapid training is the key. How is finishing flight training early important? It is the best to finish each course in minimal time. For example, you need at least 40 hours of total flight time to obtain a private pilot license. But it's very rare to see students actually doing their check ride with only 40 hours. Also, by finishing flight training fast, you're compounding aviation knowledge and flight skills in a short period of time. But some people fail during this accelerated flight training course, like in ATP flight school, and can't get a refund for their flight training. One of my mentor's friend failed at his CFI check ride at ATP flight school, and the school asked him to pay for the entire CFI course again. So he decided to work at Parts 135 cargo company instead, thanks to his friend who referred him to the company owner. So if you start flight training, have an environment where you can fully focus on your training. Are you too old to become a pilot? Does age matter to become a pilot? Yes and no. I haven't even seen a 60 years old first officer in a new class at regional airlines. And my mentor got his first airline job when he was 45. As long as you can get a medical certificate, it's never too late to become an airline pilot. But be prepared for a backup plan when you're fall out from the airline, because the aviation industry is cyclical. Many pilots have a plan B so they can do other things when they cannot work at the airline. If you're married and have kids, you should have family support to focus on your training for at least 15 months. High earning potential. Unlike old times, regional airline pay these days is at 6 figures. This comes from the airline pilot shortage during the pandemic and many baby boomer pilots retiring. So you will get a pretty decent return on your investment. But if you're financing your training, be prepared to pay the debt, even if you cannot get a job right after. I previously talked about pilot salary in the different video. Check it out if you're wondering. What school should you go to? There are Part 141 schools and Part 61 schools in US flight training. Both types of schools have pros and cons. Part 141 schools are led by customized syllabus that are made by their own or commercially produced. You also need to see if the school has in-house mechanic. Airplanes often have problems and you don't want the airplane being in a hangar for months so you cannot schedule for the next flight. And you need to check if the DPE is available anytime at the school. This is very problematic in California region. There is a DPE shortage in the Southwest region in the US. You might need to wait for your check ride for 2 months if there is no available DPE. Lastly, you need to check the instructor-student-airplane ratio. Some schools have problems scheduling flight because they don't have enough instructors or airplanes. Back to Part 141 schools and Part 61 schools, the syllabus used in Part 141 schools are made to keep integrity in flight training. In Part 61 flight schools, the courses all depend on the flight instructor. So if you pick a Part 61 school, go to school owned by, say, a 6-7 years old former Navy pilot so he can teach you and give you his legacy knowledge. Some people recommend Part 61 schools for rapid flight training, but I personally disagree. Many students go to Part 141 schools and finish their training within 15 months. Whether you go to Part 61 or Part 141 school, you should ask the students who are going to that school. They'll give you the testimonials for that school. Cost efficiency. You can save on your training costs in many ways. You can choose the CFIS route or pass the written exam in advance before you go to flight school. CFIS is a sports pilot certified flight instructor, and it costs way less money in general, around $30,000 in total. And passing the written exam in advance can save you time. If you prepare the written exam, I'll talk about the things you should know in another video. Normally, students take online ground school and use the software to prepare for the written exam. Go to flight school's website and see how much it costs, and be prepared if you cannot finish the training with a minimum flight time. You can add 20% to the total training cost. Networking importance. Building network in the aviation industry is extremely important. You will most likely get your first job through networking. In February 2025, when I'm recording this video, there is Spirit bankruptcy and JetBlue layoff. So when regional airlines are not hiring, there are no vacancies for instructor jobs. It can be hard to get a job if you just graduated from flight school with 200 to 250 hours. We have a networking group at pilotscrewfinder.com. There are many US and Korean pilots and flight training experts who can give you advice and provide information for you. Also, we annually give a scholarship to one student to fund their flight training. Airline Cadet Programs. Airline Cadet Programs are selective programs that students can apply to without any flight time. For instance, in the US, there is the Southwest Airline Destination 225-degree Cadet Pathway Program. This program takes 4 to 5 years to complete and provide training towards becoming a first officer at Southwest Airlines. The cons of these cadet programs are: 1. If you are unable to complete the program, you could end up with a lot of debt. 2. When you're hired by the airline, you will be locked into contract for several years with that airline. 3. You will need to relocate far from your family and friends. If you're interested, you can research many different cadet programs yourself. There are programs from Piedmont, American Airlines Amboy Air, PSA Airlines, and many others. If you land an instructor job and build 1,500 hours, you will get an airline pilot job very soon in the current market situation. Every year, baby boomers are retiring, and airlines are increasing the number of their fleet historically. But remember, the airline industry is cyclical, and there was also a time when pilots got laid off. Nevertheless, if you stick with the aviation industry and keep working on it, you will most likely get an airline pilot job. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe this channel and leave a comment.